Set a camera up down here, go back up and set it off and video it on.
Oh, you should have seen the photos they got yesterday actually during the ERT. They were amazing. Back in the day.
Do you ever get your cup of concrete as you're passing?
I was born
Why is it so easy to do?
But he didn't like the sock out to swim, but walking through a bit that didn't fit, so he arranged it for him.
It's just like we've got all sorts of underground pathways and doorways like that, haven't we? Because just so they can get to places quicker. That means stop.
I wouldn't mind going down there.
Well, that one's a bit too very serious when you're looking at it.
So I'm guessing the priority there is for just cabling, just getting cabling and services through to Grand National.
Might have done that.
Things to worry about when it floods or you get any water problems, isn't it? I guess a lot of the old tunnels, like underneath Nickelodeon land, they've all gone now, haven't they?
Yeah,
Where the old
well,
bumper
they were
cars
filled
were and things like that.
Well, that's how you used to work, you know,
Yeah.
back in the 40s.
No health and
40s,
safety,
50s, they just
no hard hats.
on ones and knees.
Yeah, on you go with it. I just got to do a quick. Yeah, okay. You haven't been down here before. How long have you worked here?
Oh, 12 years.
12 years.
And there are still some parts of the place that's not seen.
Yeah, I really didn't think that there'd be that much metal on metal contact. That's what surprises me. So that's the racing motor there, isn't it? It is a shame it doesn't do it though.
It is.
I mean, he said it was only 12 years, but I can't remember it
I
ever.
went on the ride when it did that.
And the chap who goes to the other one in America, we've had a few talks about the similarities. They're still racist, I think.
That's the problem there, does it work? That's the thing, where does it work? Please don't touch anything on it, just for your sake. And you will not believe just what that grease is like. So, in a brief nutshell, we have a single drive motor for this ride. There used to be what we call the motivation system buried in the centre of the ride that rotated with it. That made the horses go like that in relation to each other and kind of race each other. We isolated that probably about a dozen or so years ago, because there are potential failures within that system that we weren't happy about. So we decided, on balance, to get rid of it. So the motivation doesn't work any longer, but the rotation obviously does. The ride is driven round, the motors surround there, along with the tensioning system, which you'll see the weight box full of all sorts of goodies. Please don't try and take any souvenirs, or the ride won't run properly. And they're usually fairly big and heavy, and we will catch you. So that's basically it. It's a rope system that drives the whole thing round. If you look inside, you'll see the outer track you can see is just a flat track. That's the main platform support wheels. There's a similar one on the inside, that's to support the whole platform. You'll also see the wheels underneath each horse. There's basically a timber track akin to a roller coaster track with a steel rail on top that rises up and down as it goes around in different positions. So the horses ride before the different locations depending on which lane they are and which point on the track. So that's what gives the up and down action. At the end of the ride, we just kill the power and the ride will coast to a stop naturally. There is a braking system on here, which is that cylinder that you can see just behind you. And what that basically does is a timber band all the way around the perimeter of the ride, and we just pull that tight. So it's not tight, but it provides some friction. We do occasionally have rope failures on the drive system, which is why we very rarely allow anybody to come down here when the ride's in operation. And believe me, it is one of the scariest places in the world when this ride's running. It's noisy as hell, there's a lot of energy involved, and you have all these mental images in your mind of a rope snapping, and I think of various horror films where you've seen the results of that. It's never happened, thankfully, and it's unlikely to, but it's not nice being down here when the ride's running. When a rope fails, we do get occasional bits of carnage, but it's not generally too bad. It's usually a day or so's of hard work for some people who then have to throw the balls and grips and everything else away because they are uncleanable. But you can see we do put spare ropes down at the beginning of each season, ready for when we do get a failure in the year, and that's the ropes that you can see hanging around the area. So that's the kind of thing that we do on here. A slightly unusual method of dealing with a new rope when it goes into service, or ready for service. Once you put it on the ride, there's an area around there, you'll see a whole bunch of concrete dust on the floor, cement dust. And a bit further around you see the table that we use, and we actually run the ropes through cement dust to act as a dressing to give it some decent friction, otherwise it just slides all over the place. That's one of the sort of slightly bizarre things that we have to do here on a reasonably regular basis. It's not quite F1 technology, but it works and it keeps the thing going. And there's a real place, I think, for good old-fashioned engineering that just simply works. So that's the Derby race in a nutshell. There aren't very many things like it in the world. Any questions? Good, right, I'll go.
I'm going to go the opposite way to everyone else.
Oh, you had to touch something, didn't you?
I caught my arm.
Oh. How many watts is the main motor?
Sorry?
How many watts is that main
No
motor?
idea, unless there's a racing plate on it.
Yeah, it looks, I should imagine it's about 30 kilowatts, isn't it? Less.
Like that,
So there's so much friction with all those wheels.
it's not great because every wheel has a pair of bearings, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought it would be tyres. That'd be a nightmare though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, alright. I'll go over to here. Yeah, alright, meet us at Steeple.
Okay, no. Yeah, it's alright.